Greetings all, this is Dickie Adams with Pocketnow.com, and today we're doing the unboxing of the Sprint Motorola Photon 4G. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Now, the Motorola Photon 4G is the first 4G device for Sprint from Motorola. It is a dual-core NVIDIA Tegra 2 1 gigahertz processor. It's got 1 gig of RAM, 16 gigs of onboard memory, and it's got the support up for a 32 gig SD card, so that's a total of 48 gigabytes. Let's go ahead and open up the box and take a look at what's inside here. So here's the device itself, which we'll come back to in a second. We pop this open here. Then we've got the standard USB cable and the wall wart and your instruction manual. So here's the back of the device, and one of the really kind of neat things that this device has is a kickstand that the original Evo had and not really very many other devices had up to that point. It gives you the ability to kind of rest the device so you can view it easily from like a movie watching angle, or perhaps using a wireless keyboard. It's got a little flap here to slide your finger over, open it, and it looks like it's got a little magnet here that keeps it securely closed as well. If we look closely here, we've got our 8 megapixel with dual flash camera. We'll see how that turns out, and we've got some microphone holes there. If we pop the back off of this phone, it's got kind of this is like a brushed plastic feel. It's really squishy. In here we have the 1650 milliamp hour battery, a slot for the micro SD card, but there's not one included, and the Sprint SIM card, which is right here. Now, the SIM card is only designed for outside of the United States. It is apparently currently locked to the United States domestically through Sprint. Folks are reporting that if they put in a outside the U.S. SIM in here, then it comes up just fine, but domestic SIMs are not working. Snap that back on nice and tight. This side of the device, we've got the HDMI and charging port. On the top, we've got the button and the headphone adapter. Over here, we have the volume rocker and the dedicated camera button, which I appreciate. Both of these have little ridges in them. Your finger stays on them pretty well. So far, they feel pretty nice. We'll see how they work out in the real device. On the front, we've got the touch buttons here, VGA based front-facing camera up here, and then your sensors as well. Let's go ahead and turn the device on. 4.3-inch screen, QHD display. It is using the pin tile technology. So if you've used or seen pin tile in the past, it's exactly the same. You're going to have some noticeable pixelation, and then when you scroll really fast, you will also see some blurring and some. It might be just a little hard to read. You can take a look at our Droid 3 review for more information on that, the pin tile display, if you want to see that before we get to the hardware review. It is a 4G phone, so it does have a WiMAX antenna in it. It says CDMA and GSM, as we talked about. It is about 158 grams. Compared to my Epic 4G, it is slightly longer here. And width-wise, it's obviously just a little bit thinner than the Epic 4G, which is interesting because this does not have a slide-out keyboard, but it's not really that much shorter or thinner than the Epic is. It has nicely rounded, or rather beveled corners, not really rounded as much as beveled. The screen itself has a slight, looks almost like it slides in just a little bit here on the top, on the bottom. You could hear that the startup sounds. It has Sprint ID on it, but thankfully it does not require you to use the Sprint ID when you first launch the device. It is running Gingerbread, and we can see here we can scroll through the apps. We'll see how many of these apps are bloatware a little bit later on in the software review. Tegra processor, the dual core, makes it very snappy so far. Overall, the screen looks good, and since it's pentile, we should be able to see this in direct sunlight without too much of a problem. Although I do wonder if the color accuracy is going to be as good as like an AMOLED screen, which we'll determine once we do the hardware review. That wraps up our unboxing of the Sprint Motorola Photon 4G. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and we'll try to address them in the hardware and software reviews when we get to them, and then watch for our full review coming up at Pocketnow.com later on. Thanks for watching.